Hey guys, so I am back with Sector 5. We're in the very end of this Conquest series, Conquest 22, where we're getting the Scythe. So I want to go over all the feats like usual. I want to show you some of the different teams I'm using, some other teams that I've heard have been working. And yeah, this sector seems like a lot of the feats just kind of play into naturally if you're doing the global feats, with the exception, of course, of a couple of them. But most of them do let you double dip here. So it's going to be pretty good in terms of getting the feats done while you're making your way through the sector. So let's have a look at the list and then I will show you some of these teams. Okay, guys, so we need to evade at least 100 attacks in battles that you've won. So that's a pretty clear stipulation. I haven't tested it personally on battles that I've lost to see if it's gone up or not, mainly because of the teams that I've been using, I've been wanting to win with. So we'll go over that in a little bit. Attempt to inflict ability block 60 times, pretty standard and straightforward while you're making your way through. Blind 60 times. This is going to be relatively easy in terms of double dipping, but it's going to be faster to get it done if you don't double dip. So it's one of those weird feats, but we can talk about it. And then defeat 50 enemies with bounty hunter units. So again, pretty straightforward, and you can do this without a full bounty hunter team. So I'm going to show you that as well. Okay, so let's have a look here and see what we can do. Okay, guys, so the first feat I want to show you, or the team, is going to work on 3 of these feats except for bounty hunter units. So we're going to get ability block, blind, evading at least 100 times in attacks we've won. It's also going to double dip into 2 global feats. So we're working on 5 feats here at one time. So Jedi Master Luke lead, you guys know I absolutely love him in Conquest. I think he is beautiful and probably the best GL for it. But we're going to take him with a full Jedi team. So we get that for globals. We're going to add General Kenobi to call for the kills. So that's also for globals. And then Jedi Master Luke is able to do an AoE ability block. So we're able to work on that. Jedi Knight Luke has blind on his first special, so we're able to work on that. And then with Grandmaster Yoda, we're able to spread foresight around on this team to evade some attacks here once we've gotten the win, and then we will be able to work on all 5 of those feats with just one team, which is great if you haven't finished off those Jedi wins yet or gotten that disc yet from getting 100 kills with one of the 2 Kenobis. So definitely, I think one of the stronger teams to use in this sector in particular. And I mean, if you're working on 5 feats at once with one team, I think that's a pretty strong team to go with. You could also do a full Jedi squad without Jedi Master Luke if you wanted to. You would just want to bring in, if you wanted to work on ability block, you would want to tweak this a little bit so that you were bringing in a Jedi with ability block on them. So I would do something like Jedi Knight Revan lead instead with these 4 characters, except swap Shock out for old Ben since he's got ability block, or even Bastilla because she has it on her basic, something like that, and you'll still be able to work on the 5 feats at once. I just in particularly really like using Jedi Master Luke lead in Conquest. So that is that, and I will show you here in our feats. We were able to get a bunch of ability block, evaded 9 times, and landed 3 blind with Jedi Knight Luke. So I think he is great to use on your Jedi team. A little bit slow to get the blinds though. Okay, guys, so this is bounty hunter units. You can obviously use a full bounty hunter squad. That's going to be great, especially if you have zealous ambition and you take Cad because he's a support. He's just going to wreck the team. But let's say you don't have very strong bounty hunters. I would do this against a Geonosian squad or a Mon Mothma squad. I personally like Geos. I just find that it works a little bit nicer. So Traya leads so that all of their turns out of attack, or out of turn, sort of kill themselves, right, because of her leadership. Jedi Master Luke to taunt, or any other tank that you have that's a strong tank with Watt to make him tank, and then 2 bounty hunters. I chose to bring Jango and Boba just because I wanted bounty hunters that specifically have AoEs. Because as you can see, the Geos are getting a little bit weaker here. So I'm just going to kind of let them keep attacking. I don't want to do any damage if possible with Jedi Master Luke because I don't want them to steal the kill. And now Boba's able to go in and get a bunch of them. That was a complete misclick on my part. I probably should have AoE'd, to be honest with you. And then you can time out with this so you're not wasting your stamina. Or you can just win like I did if you just want to make your way through. But it's probably going to be a relatively easy way to get the kills if you don't have strong bounty hunters by forcing that leadership to take effect. So you can see we got the kills there, and then we can move on. All right, guys. So this one is all about blind. In my opinion, the fastest way to get blind done is to use a CLS team, and I wanted to try it on 2 nodes in particular. So you can see here we are sitting at 3 blind before we start, and I want to try it on this Karth node with Nest. I was kind of hoping that maybe she wouldn't die very quickly, but since she just stacks so much of that protection regenerating, we'd be able to pump out a lot of blinds here. So you're going to go in with your full CLS squad. If you have Zealous Ambition apply, you don't really need to worry about it making them do a ton of damage because none of them are support or healers. Obviously, other than C-3PO, but he doesn't count really here. So it's pretty straightforward. I like to stun Canderous first just because he tends to be honestly the worst in terms of damage dealt back at you in Conquest. So really it was just about me getting the initial control at first, just to kind of take it, and then you can start trying to apply blind with Chupio. Obviously it's going to usually come down to just Nest at the end. And I was really just hoping to keep removing turn meter from her so that she wouldn't take any turns. And we could just kind of keep stacking blind on her that way. I do eventually kill her, so I don't get to time out, unfortunately. And I think that would be honestly a better option if we could time out here, so that we can just build up as many blinds as possible. But she just ends up taking turns and getting rid of that bonus protection, unfortunately. Which is a little bit annoying, but it is still a little bit better, I think, than using just Jedi Knight Luke to get the blinds done. So you'll see here, we'll just double check how many we've gotten. But we are now at 7. So we got 4, which isn't the end of the world, but also not amazing. So this is the same team again going against this Phoenix squad. So it's got a Sabine on it. And I'm sitting at 17 blinds. And I really wanted to find something that worked a little bit better. So I did change my discs. I took off the volatile accelerator and I put a decay critical turn meter on because I wanted them to lose turn meter. I only have 1 of that disc, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have stacked more. The more turn meter you can pull away from them, the better. And I basically just did not want them taking turns at all, if possible, just so that I could keep stacking blinds. Especially because, honestly, the Phoenix team is really strong in terms of hitting back at the CLS team in particular. So if I could stop them from taking as many turns, then that would be a bonus. And you can see here that like Ezra just keeps going. There are times when Sabine just keeps taking turns, but this was the node that I found personally that I was getting the most blinds out of. So I am changing up my targets here because I'm trying to make my way through each Phoenix member and remove turn meter from them if I can, or critically hit them if possible. Obviously you want to use blind every time we can. But critically hitting them so that I'm removing more churn meter. And essentially, I just wanted to try to keep them alive, which is also why I was moving my targets around. So I wasn't doing too much damage to just one of them. So again, just hopping around here, trying to keep them alive, but also trying to take as many turns as possible. All right. So it does start to get a little bit, it gets a little bit dicey. I don't totally love it, but in terms of farming blind, I think this is the fastest. As soon as they kill Chewy, it's pretty much, it's going to go downhill pretty quickly because now you're no longer guarded, which is a little bit annoying, but you're able to get a bunch of blinds off this way. You can also do it against Night Sisters. I wasn't getting as many against Night Sisters in particular. I found Phoenix to be a bit more, even though I was dying against the Phoenix squad, I was getting more blinds and credit for blinds than I was against Night Sisters. So totally just depends on who's in your path here, enemy-wise, while you're doing it. So you can see I had 17, we're at 26 now. So I got 9 in one battle, which I think is pretty reasonable. Okay, so let's look at the mini-boss, which is a Jedi Knight Anakin lead. Obviously, we're going to have to do it twice because we've got to win with Mace surviving, and we have to win with no Force users, essentially. So since Mace is a Jedi, I'm personally just going to go for a full Jedi squad. I think that is probably the best way to take advantage, and you can also take advantage of multiple feats at the same time. So obviously you're going to get the Mace window surviving, but you're also going to get the full Jedi feat. You're going to get Kenobi kills. You're going to get ability block again from Jedi Master Luke. You're going to get evades here from Grandmaster Yoda. On second thought, I probably should not have taken Shock as the 5th character in this team. My reasoning for it was I just wanted to kill Anakin as soon as possible, just to be safe. And she is a support character as well, so I wanted to make sure I was doing a decent amount of damage, worst case scenario. But if you wanted to, I would probably replace her with Jedi Knight Luke instead in this particular lineup. That way you can also work on blind. So hindsight is 2020. That's the only thing I would probably change. Otherwise, I think this is a really good squad to kind of get you through it and work on a ton of feats at the exact same time. So I'll just speed this up because it's pretty straightforward. I wanted to kill Anakin first just so that he wouldn't take his bonus turn and possibly AoE me and do a ton of damage, which is why I really tried to focus on Anakin first, and I would definitely recommend doing the same thing. I feel like he is, next to Mace with Mace's Shatter Point, I think Jedi Knight Anakin is probably the scariest one out of this whole team. So if you can get rid of him as soon as possible, then you've got a lot of the play is in your favor now, and you can just kind of whittle down the rest of these Jedi that aren't going to do as much damage to you. So pretty straightforward and a nice, relatively simple win. So that is with Mace Windu surviving, and we will do the no Force users feat here, which is obviously pretty straightforward. So this is just the modifier. I just wanted to double check it before I went in, based off what team I wanted to pick for this, because obviously you can go with a scoundrel team without Cat. You could go with Grievous. You could go with clones. I chose to go with clones instead. I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to prevent any debuffs. I wanted to make sure that I was able to get rid of Anakin as soon as possible. So I just really felt better about using clones in particular here with Chewy instead of droids. But I think that they would both be fine. I just wanted to make sure I was also getting a 3-star on it, because obviously if you can't do the other feat, you want to try and get the stars to make up for those points that you are missing out on. So same idea. I want to go straight for Anakin. So straight for Anakin, just get rid of him as soon as possible. And then I did want to form up with Rex as soon as possible as well, just to prevent any debuffs that could possibly land. I wanted to make sure the clones were being fed turn meter. I just wanted to handle it as quickly as possible before Anakin or Mace did anything stupid. So pretty clean. I'm going to show you the discs, and these are the discs that I used for both boss feats. That way you're not confused. So Blindside, Ruthless Offense, Fortified, and then 2 Entrenched and 2 Zealous Ambition. Nothing too crazy. A little bit of damage, but mostly defense. Okay, so this is the final boss, and he has some crazy modifier here. Basically, you can't kill Vader right away. You have to kill everyone first, and then you are able to kill Vader. And once he's alone, he gains a whole bunch of max health, recovers health and protection, gains critical damage, all this fun stuff. Fun for him, I suppose. And then you also have 2 event abilities or battle abilities, I guess, to this mission specifically. So obviously no Jedi, Sith, and Force users, but you also have to win with Kenobi surviving, Master Kenobi surviving. If you have Jedi Master Kenobi, I would just go in with the typical Jedi Master Kenobi team personally for him to survive. If you can take Cat, all the better. And yeah, you're able to just go in that way. I wanted to bring General Kenobi with them as well in case he did land any kills, and then just go from there. I wanted to get rid of one of these sides as quickly as possible, and I figured Grand Inquisitor would probably be the worst one. So Kat was there to snipe him out. If you wanted to, you could save her instant kill for later on once Vader is alone, after you've gotten rid of all of the sides. But I figured just getting one of them down as quickly as possible and making my way through was probably a decent idea. So you can use these event abilities. They are shared between all of your allies, so it doesn't matter who uses them. The cooldown is shared, and then once Vader is alone, the cooldown resets and you can use them again. But I did want to try and whittle them down as quickly as possible. I would get rid of Palpatine quickly too, because he's going to obviously stun you and kind of screw you over from that manner. So pretty straightforward. It's just getting the sides down, and then once they're down, you do want to get rid of Vader as quickly as possible because he has that stacking crit damage and max health and protection, and it's just kind of bad. So pretty quick. I chose not to use Kat's instant kill afterwards because I wanted to save it for this in particular, so that she would do more damage since I hadn't used it, and then she just didn't get a chance to, and Kenobi got the kill shot, which was great. But they survived, and it was relatively straightforward. So in terms of no Jedi or Sith, I kept my discs the same for this. The only thing that I am going to change is that white Zealous Ambition, because I realized that I have a green one. So that obviously made more sense since I could do more damage. I was insanely nervous about using Grievous here. I tried it. It did not work. Just in terms of the discs that I had chosen to use. So that was kind of off of the table for me. So I figured the best bet was, because I had the Zealous Ambition discs, to go for Dash in particular and getting his AoE out there and making my way through. So I did choose to go with Bam, Han, and Chewy. Obviously, I don't have a Volatile Accelerator equipped, so I'm not going to be feeding myself turn meter here. And then Dash, and then I wasn't really sure who to take for the 5th. In terms of a 5th scoundrel, you don't want to take Kat because she counts as a Force user, so she was off the table immediately. But I figured I would just take Grief because he's a support, and if he maybe got a basic in or something like that, then it might be helpful. So again, I chose to stun Palpatine right away. You can't stun Vader. So I wanted to get rid of Palpatine before he did too much damage to me. And then here, as soon as I can with Dash, I want to do his AoE. Bam was actually pretty helpful because of his damage immunity. So I was able to keep Chewy alive longer and keep that guard out, which is on Han, obviously, and Dash. And Dash is the important one here. So definitely wanted to make sure that was a factor. And then it's the same idea. You're just kind of getting rid of the sides. And while I'm doing that, at least Bam can work on his whistling birds. And then here, you can use these special abilities that you've got, these event ones. And they actually do work in terms of stunning. You can see you can stun Vader at this time. So the first special ability stuns him, and the second one would stagger him. But no Jedi, Sith, or Force users that way. Okay, guys, so that is it. That's Sector 5. We are completely through this conquest, all of the feats, as well as all of the bosses and mini bosses, etc. Overall, I do genuinely think that the feats are a little bit easier in terms of being able to stack them together. This conquest feels kind of weird. I've had multiple people tell me this, and I'm sure you're noticing it too. It feels like you're not making progress, but you are making progress at the same time. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the disc selection and the optimal discs. I still stand by the fact that you definitely want to have Zealous Ambition on you if you can, at least 2, just to kind of stack them. I prefer to have 3. If you can pick up a volatile accelerator, it will help you cheese some of these feats. You don't necessarily need it right away, but it will help you later on. Voluntary Vanguard is going to be helpful. And then you just want overall defensive discs. Picking up Entrenched is great. Fortified is great. Things like that where they're going to help you stay alive. Otherwise, I would look at, if you do find a Deadly Catalyst disc, then I would look at using that with the Ruthless discs, the Ruthless Swiftness and Ruthless Offense, just because you do tend to destroy the team so quickly with that particular build. So it is doable. It's just a matter of knowing what disc build you want to go for, based off also what you're seeing in your sectors while you're making your way through, and then just working on the feats as you go. So hopefully this was helpful, and we will figure out what to do next month if they fixed any bugs or anything like that. But other than that, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.